New to casinos and not sure what to play? Well, try Blackjack first. It has a lower house advantage compared to other table games, making it especially player-friendly. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Her and Howard at the 2-3 are extremely dangerous. But it's playoffs. And it's defense and it's rebounding. You know the game. Offense exciting, defense wins games, rebounds win championships. Well, they got BG and Brianna Jones at that 4-5 combination.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Tiger used to really annoy me because all he did was win, and I was like, gosh, I just want to see some drama. I want to see Phil challenge him. I want to see some magic down the stretch and have Tiger pull it out in miracle-like fashion, like Rory just did at the Masters, when something is really compelling like that. Scotty sucks the drama right out of the golf tournament as well. He just doesn't do it with all the panache.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
I like Payton. I like Jeremy Payton. I think he's a nice player, but really, look at this offense. You're shocked that they win games 2-1. I mean, they're an under machine. Solid pitching, even though half their staff's on the injured list still. The bullpen's solid, and they can't hit a lick. They average what? It seems like they average 3 runs a game, but somehow they run off 10 in a row. They're 10 games under, and then they're 20 games over 500. How does this team do it? That's just in them, though.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome in. It is in-game live game day here on a terrific Thursday, a busy Thursday. Normally during the baseball season, there's nothing going on, and we barely have a couple of baseball games to talk about. But not tonight. Not that we have a lot of baseball game, but we do have baseball. We do have NFL. We got CFL. We got a little golf. We got WNBA. Even got some tennis to get to. So if you're into sports, then tonight's actually not a bad little night. Scott and Gabe, hour number 1 until 10 p.m. Eastern time, watching, analyzing, and of course betting on the world of sports. 5 on the line, SGPs, Black Clouds. We'll get to it all. Gabe, how you doing on this Thursday evening? What's on your plate tonight?
We got a lot on our plate tonight. Busy night, like you said. We've got some bigger units. Football, for whatever reason, makes people do more extreme things and bet bigger amounts. But there is a little bit of something for everybody tonight. But right now, I've got my eye on this tennis. We're into the championship right now, and Boko last night and all week the last 2 weeks, been shocking the tennis world. She knocked off 3 Grand Slam winners this week, and now she's facing another one in Naomi Osaka. She's actually won 4 championships, Scott. It's quite a lot. I don't think people realize how many majors she's won already in her young career. And similar to last night, she looks bad in the first set. You're like, oh, man, it's over. She's got, bandages all over her wrist after falling last night. She loses 6-2 in the first set. You figure, all right, that was a good run. She wins the second set 6-4. She comes back. Wow. She wins the second set 6-4. She's up 3-1 right now, Scott, in the third set.
I see that.
It's unbelievable. If she pulls this off, she's 18 years old. If she pulls this off and beats 4 major Grand Slam championship winners in a row, it literally is one of the greatest championships ever. It really is. It's an unbelievable story.
I'm assuming she's going to be at the U.S. Open, right, in a couple of weeks. So if she does win tonight, and like I said, she's up a break. She's up now 4-1 in the second set, or third set, actually, tiebreaker set.
Make it 4-1. She just won. Her family's going crazy here. The stadium's going crazy. Scott, she came in. She was 355th in the world before this tournament started this week, or last week, whatever, a week and a half ago. Right. She's ranked 24th right now. She climbed 320 spots by knocking all these people off. It's like a college football. It's basically, Scott, you and I were talking about Kent State. It's almost like Kent State are in the college football playoffs. Not that she's bad, you know what I mean? But like she was ranked 350th, right? And then just boom, like now she's up 4-1. But NFL football as well. And just a quick NBA pick, WNBA pick. I'm sure you're on it as well. A lot of people are take. I'm going to take Gray tonight over 18.5 points. She's averaging 19.9 last 7 games post All-Star break. So I'm going to go Gray over the points tonight. And a money line parlay with the favorites tonight. I don't often do it, but we're going to do it at plus 115 this evening. The Dream to win, the Sparks to win, and the Mercury to win at plus 115. And, you know, the Mercury are playing good basketball. Indiana on the road here. I don't think it's a good matchup for the Mercury, and I think the other two favorites are going to roll. But you and I talked about it, Scott, and I don't know where you're at on these football games in the NFL tonight, but we talk about starting pitching, and, but the starters are playing. All right, how's that working out for the Colts? But the starters are playing. The quarterbacks are playing. They were down 14-3. I know they kicked another field goal right now, but one of the biggest traps in sports betting is novice bettors getting all excited because they see a starting quarterback is playing. And I can't reiterate it enough, Scott.
Yep. And they could do well. Like Joey B played the first 2 drives for the Bungles, as I like to call them. And he got 2 touchdowns. Yeah, so 14 points, but it's only 14-7. So I don't know how much more he's going to play. But, all right, you got your 14 points out of him, but they're nowhere close to, winning the game. You got 3/4 of the game left. So, and then on the other hand, I don't know if you were watching, poor Anthony Richardson, he just got crushed. Just that, it was a blindside hit. It's like signs of a quarterback that really shouldn't be in the NFL. He's looking to his left. You got to feel that pressure to the right. And one of the defensive linemen who had picked him off earlier in the game just killed him.
But you can't blame him. That was terrible coverage.
You got to feel that.
It's not the quarterback's fault. What do you feel it, Scott? The guy was there in 0.6 seconds, bro. There was nothing to feel there. That was just a blown coverage package, whatever you want to call it. The offensive line got their quarterback killed on that play.
Yeah. Well, point is, I don't think he's playing anymore tonight. I think the Colts are probably
he got taken out of the game, but you can't blame him for getting murdered on a play that the offensive line, the guy came in unblocked. Just point blank, and he's fast. Njabo, he came in unblocked, just flying in, and that's dangerous stuff, man. When you're playing, you're playing your so-called starters in the preseason, Scott, because that stuff is going to happen, right? The Bengals are lucky, it didn't happen. That's the whole thing. It's funny because I heard Belichick talk about this, and say what you know about Belichick, but he's a smart dude, right? Obviously, and Belichick was talking about the preseason, Scott, and he said how. He goes, I would prefer my starters to play like the quarterback and this and that. But he goes, it's a domino effect. He goes, if you're starting and I thought of him when I saw that. He goes, if you're starting your starting quarterback, you better have your starting offensive line out there, right? You want to get your quarterback killed in the preseason. I do agree. I think Richardson, Richardson's been injury prone. There's no disputing it. He was injury prone in college. He's been injury prone. He was overdrafted. So he has a lot of things going against him, per se, but this isn't on him. You know what I mean, Scott? When he was playing earlier, he was reckless. He should have ran out of bounds at times, and he wouldn't, and he thought, I'm invincible. This one was not on him tonight. Just point blank. That was not on him.
And I'll say this. I know people love to play unders in these preseason games, and Gabe, you and I both pointed out last night about, that's really not the case anymore, especially when you only have 3, and the first game is the one where everyone's all juiced up to get out there and play. You got 20 points midway through the second quarter in a Colts game against the Ravens. You got 21 already in the first quarter still with Philadelphia driving against Cincinnati. So these are well on pace to both going over. Maybe that plays into the Raiders and Seattle Seahawks who kick off later on tonight. So got some trends. We got 5 on the line. We do have enough games, believe it or not, to give you 5 decent trends. We're going to kind of combine things. So how about a little 5 on the line tonight? All right, let's start with the WNBA. How about Aaliyah Boston for the Indiana Fever? She's had a double-double. We're going to stretch into the props market here. She's had a double-double in 6 of her last 7 games, and the one game she didn't, she had 9 rebounds. So, and they're giving us plus money tonight. Let's see, Aaliyah Boston double-double plus 120 for Indiana, which tips off later on tonight. Chicago game just underway. You can still get these bets in on FanDuel anyway. 1-8 straight up and against the spread. You in fact get a better number now because Chicago's out to an early lead. So for our purposes, we'll give you Atlanta minus the 11 against Chicago. Same game, Camilla Cardoso for Chicago. She's had a double-double in 7 straight games, let alone 6 and 1. And they're only giving us minus 145 for her to get a double-double tonight. I mean, what am I missing here? Give it to me. 8 straight. Football, Las Vegas, Pete Carroll. We talked about this last night. 40-25-1 against the spread in preseason games. That's pretty darn good. Give us Las Vegas tonight, minus the 4.5 at Seattle. And then the creme de la creme, back to the WNBA. Only one left on the board later on tonight. LA, the Sparks, 9-1 over their last 10 games. It's a little high, and I don't like going over in Connecticut games, but they're so bad. Over 175 Connecticut at Los Angeles later on tonight. 5 on the line. All right, just underway in-game live game day here in the Grill.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
Just a little flyer, couple of
15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
welcome back. It is In-Game Live Game Day here on the Grid. Scott and Gabe just getting underway. Hour number one. Just to recap the five on the line. A couple of WNBA plays for the most part tonight, with the baseball games already underway, and only the one football game that's yet to start. So Aaliyah Boston for Indiana, double-double at plus 120. 6-1 last 7 games, getting a double-double. Atlanta minus the 11, and actually it's probably down to like 6 or 7 now because they're trailing early on. Cordoza for Chicago in the game that's underway. 7 straight double-doubles. You can still bet that. Minus 145. She's a doubles machine. We're going to go Las Vegas minus the 4.5 at Seattle, and then we'll go with the over 175.5 Connecticut and Los Angeles. LA 9-1 over their last 10 games. So even if you don't like the WNBA, if you're a trend better, what's the difference? A trend is a trend. 9-1 is a pretty good if you're a trend better. You may go opposite of that, but those are our best trends for tonight, Gabe.
I like
Preseason
them.
football.
The only thing I'll say, though, is the Aces aren't playing. So I don't know what you're talking about, and neither is Seattle. So I don't know where you're going with that. Are you talking about the NFL game?
Seattle football. Football. That's
all
football.
Right. Okay, so you're talking about WNBA. Just for the record, Mbako just actually won the title. Unbelievable.
Oh, good. Good for her.
Unbelievable story. I don't know what she was when she was down after one set. I bet the over 22 games again, and she lost 6-2. I was like, all right, just, if you can win the second set, I'll win the total. But she wasn't that big of an underdog tonight when you consider it was against Osaka. She was plus 162. So, it wasn't like she was some massive, oh, my God, right? Because even last night I saw, Scott, it's almost like when a lower-ranked team who is favored beats a team on their home field, and like the media will say, oh, big upset, and, with the 22nd ranked team beating, it's like, yeah, they're actually favorites. And I saw last night, too, they were like, huge upset in the tennis world with Mbako winning. She was plus 150 last night. Like, that's not a huge upset. It's an upset, but it's not a huge upset. But I like your WNBA picks. And one thing, Scott, too, you're talking about all these players. I didn't get in on all of them with double-doubles. Does everybody get a double-double in the WNBA now? Because I got a double-double play later with Thomas. And, in fact, she's the first, hard to believe, she's the first player ever to have back-to-back triple-doubles, Scott, in WNBA history. Another one, like we talk about baseball stats that blow our mind. They're like, come on, that's never happened before, more than that. I can't believe that. You know what I mean? I can't believe that no one in the WNBA history before, guys. Thomas is the first player. She's got back-to-back triple-doubles. Her double-double, six straight double-doubles. Her double-double prop is 165, Scott. She's like a double-double machine, and she's got 2 straight triple-doubles at plus 500. I know I could be a day late and $1 short on this, but I got to take it tonight. And plus, the game's going to be a blowout. It could be like, not a blowout, but a stat fest. There's going to be a lot of shots. The Fever play at fast pace. I got Sparks props. I was thinking about that game being a blowout, but I got to risk it, Scott, at plus 500 that she pulls it off again. Like, I'm gonna feel like an idiot if I don't cash in at plus 500, like knowing that she's done it twice in a row already.
Yeah. FanDuel's got the double-double for her at minus 150, I put in.
Wow.
And
How do you not play that? How do you not play that?
6-7 straight games? I mean,
and Scott, you see the numbers. She's not just getting there, bro. Like, she's shattering us. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, she's killing it.
She's not getting 10. She's getting 12, 13. Yeah. Two high-paced teams up and down the court. Neither one's going to back down from the other one, right? I mean, I think I'm just going to write it off, Gabe. It's just not that many people bet these secondary sports, so some of the lines are goofy. They don't put that much attention into it.
They don't move them. They don't move them, Scott.
Yeah.
The computer sets it, and I swear they do this with the NHL. Like, the Montreal Canadiens were not a bad team last year. They were graded like a bad team. And it took them until, like, springtime to start adjusting. Like, you know what I mean? They don't get remember action. Like, there's a couple of sharps. I mean, we're not the only ones. And there's people betting bigger than you and I are on it even. You know what I mean? Like remember Drew Dinkmeyer. Like, the Dinkmeyers in the world. These guys are sitting at home betting 2 dimes on these props. But then they get banned from the book if you bet too much on them, right?
Right.
It's that fine line. The book's not like, they don't care about it until someone beats them for $350,000 in a month or something. Then they're going to notice, right? But I've talked about it. Like, not that many people, Scott, are betting WNBA player props. They're just not adjusting the numbers.
Yeah. And that's how people get caught for those that want to fix things, because the numbers are so low that when someone does bet, 10, 15,
Sets a
whatever
red flag.
K on a prop, right? Bells and whistles.
Oh,
go
I
off.
guarantee it.
Her double.
Oh,
really?
Yeah. Even tonight, exactly, with all like the Alicia Thomas, like all the money that'll come in on her tonight, there'll be a little bit of a look under the hood, right? Any of her relatives betting on this, like, you know what I mean? Type stuff like when there's these bigger bets.
Neighbors.
Yeah, there's always that's how they track this stuff, because people think they're smart, right? The college kids think they're smart. I'll get my cousin to put the bet in. They're going to track it. Like, they have like the FBI. There's professionals on top of monitoring this stuff. But like you said, it just sort of flies under the radar. The books are saying, hey, you want to bet it? Beat us, right? But they are sharp, the numbers still. She's been beating them, but we see the WNBA numbers are sharp. It's not like it's an easy league to bet on.
Yeah. So at least we got it, though. I give credit to the WNBA for having their games now versus head-to-head with the NBA, which they could do if they wanted to. So I'm glad we actually have it. It's a little goofy, but the league's getting better and better. It's being more and more competitive. You're getting better women, better teams. You had a couple of bad teams like Chicago this year, Connecticut, but listen, the guy paid how many millions of dollars to buy the Connecticut Sun and move him to Boston, which they're going to do apparently in a couple of years. So
the franchise values are moving in on $1 billion now.
Yeah.
See, that's the whole thing. So, like, when you see people say, oh, the WNBA loses money and they lost $40 million last year, it's like, all right, how many owners want to sell their team? Right? Yeah, technically they've lost money, Scott, but the valuation of their franchises are, like, sky high right now.
That's where they make
and you
the
can't
money.
buy the Sparks. Like, try to buy the Sparks. They're going to tell you, it's not for sale, kid. Like, you know what I mean? No, this thing's going to be worth $3 billion in 10 years. We're not selling it.
Yeah. We may lose a couple every single year, but the evaluations are going through the roof. So that's where they want to cash in.
It's like the Miami Marlins.
Yeah, exactly. SGP coming up next.
They're in a decent spot. They actually had a really great quarter this past quarter, and they're crediting what they're calling a smarter approach to sports betting and player quality, not just being lucky and being on the winning side of more bets. Of course, the past 2 quarters have been really bad for sports books, which just got hammered in the NFL playoffs, and then that continued into March Madness, but it looks like Q2 is shaping up to be much better for them.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Want to hear a crazy stat, guys, with this Pittsburgh Pirate team? I brought this up yesterday. Out of 106 games, they have been involved in 27 shutouts, 13-4, 14 against. Over 1 out of every 4 Pittsburgh Pirate games ends in a shutout. How crazy is that?
Total is 8 tonight.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Was already pretty solid up top, but you had the bottom that's that much better with Ryan O'Hearn and Lariano. Like, we now have a well-rounded lineup on top of a great pitching staff. Michael King is expected to start making his rehab starts. So you have him plus Pavetta plus Dylan Cease. You Darvish is back. You have the frontline pitching, the depth in the lineup, and now a great bullpen. You have it all.
I really like it. Like I do. Like sometimes I get caught up in the Padres because of what they can be.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
We don't care where you were drafted. You outperform somebody, you're going to be on that football field. Now, again, there are extenuating circumstances where you draft a quarterback number 3 overall. Yeah, they're going to try him out for the next 3 to 4 years, even if he's not as good as anybody on that roster. But from Shadur's perspective, that's probably the case. Tyler Huntley, Shadur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Deshaun Watson. There's a lot of names on that list, not a lot of good names on that list, so he can earn a job on this football team.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Hi, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Just underway. Hour number one. Scott and Gabe. We'll get back to the football, the WNBA. We got some tennis stuff, a little bit more maybe, and then obviously a couple baseball games. But light night. Crazy stat and just another lesson on how you can't beat the boys in Vegas I have for you with the Pittsburgh Pirate game. But first up, a little SGP, same game parlay. All right, we're going to use a WNBA game. Why not? Starts later on tonight, that Indiana-Phoenix game. I think we're going to get some points, as Gabe and I were talking. Up and down the court they go, as long as they hit their shots, and these women do. They can shoot, smaller basketball, nice and easy, but 172.5 points. I think they'll get that by mid-fourth quarter, so let's go over. Not going to worry about who's going to win or lose. It should be a good game. Got to go with Aaliyah Boston. We talked about it, a double-double plus 120. Makes no sense. Then I'll use, it was kind of funny, they actually bumped it up quite a bit. Now, she could get a double-double, but not go over 28.5 points, rebounds, and assists. But I'm going to take the chance if she's getting a double-double, that's at least 20. And realistically, it's probably like 23, 24. I'll take the chance she gets the over 28.5 points, rebounds, and assists. And they bumped it up about 125, 135 points. And I did the same thing with Alyssa Thomas, a double-double, minus 150, right? We talked about her. And hers is a little bit higher, 32.5. But if AT gets the double-double, as they like to call her, chances are halfway decent she's getting to 33 because she's a big-time scorer. So add it all up. I say this game all the time. Sometimes FanDuel, I won't say screws us, but sometimes FanDuel doesn't give us the odds, I think. And then there are other games, and it's a 50-50 split, to be fair. There are other games like tonight where it's like, wow, all right, you're going to bump it 150 or so points because I'm adding on this over points, rebounds, and assists when I already got the double-double. I'll take it, plus 766 on the parlay.
One thing when we were talking about them not adjusting, if there's one team, though, that they know what's going on with, it's the Indiana Fever.
Right.
Caitlin's not playing now, but that's the one. And I said, people aren't betting a ton of props. It's not true. Like people, the hardcores aren't, but the Fever games are getting action. There's no disputing this, right? And even with her out, they've been playing well with her out. So I think, though, the mainstream public, I think Aaliyah Boston, she's kind of like, she's been pretty cool, Scott, because she's very good and she gets no attention because of Caitlin Clark. And now the Cunningham girl on the team, right, gets attention.
Right.
And so Boston, but is just sort of, kind of the glue of that team. Like, she's pretty consistent with her numbers. I really like your play there, and I'm kind of regretting when I heard you talking about how consistent she's been with Clark out, that I haven't been on this double-double run with her. So I'm going to add that to the portfolio. I didn't have that. I had Aaliyah Thomas going over, AT, as you talked about, but I'm going to get in on the Boston stuff. And like I said, I'm going to roll the dice with the plus 500 on a triple-double for Aaliyah Thomas.
Yeah.
Why not? Like we said, there should be a lot of shots, rebounding opportunities, points, right? So we'll take our shot. Little sprinkle on the plus 500, but I'm going to go bigger on that double-double. And you got a better number than me. I got minus 165. You got a minus 150, but I'm going to be playing that.
Yeah, FanDuel had minus 150, believe it or not. So, yeah. All right. So there you go. Little action there. We got a preseason football. We got a CFL game. I know last night you said, I think you said you liked Hamilton. I think you did. I got 7-6. No, the other way.
I didn't say that.
I'm
more in a BC Lions jersey.
Oh, yeah. I thought that was Cincinnati Bengals jersey.
They say it was me. Hey, you know what? The way you see it right now, it's true. It'd be like, is that a Browns jersey? Is that a Bengals? What is that? Right? Yeah, exactly. No, Lions. There you go. Yeah, I know. So I cut you some slack with not really knowing. But all kidding aside, listen, Hamilton had won 6 straight. What I did tell you, I like the over this game. I ended up taking BC, sort of a contrarian pick. I need some points. I got a 7-point teaser to the over as well. But it's SGA night tonight, as we talked about. He's got the Larry O'Brien trophy. At the game, they had a free. It was cool. They let the city go onto the field before the game. They had a rally for free. Then they kicked everyone out before the game. But the game is sold out. So SGA is here. They're selling like really badass, like Hamilton Tiger Cat basketball jerseys, SGA jerseys. So yeah, they're having a great night. But I hope they lose because I'm on the Lions plus the 2.5. 7-6 right now, early in the second quarter. The game is on the CBS Sports Network for those of you in the U.S. that want to see it.
All right, there you go. So getting 2.5 points. It's early on, obviously, but it'll be one of those rare situations where you're getting 2.5, you lose the game, but maybe cover. That's actually pretty cool if you're on the right side of that thing, and very annoying if you're on the wrong side of that for sure. So preseason NFL football. We'll get to that when we come back. In-game live game day here on the grid.
They're in a decent spot. They actually had a really great quarter this past quarter, and they're crediting what they're calling a smarter approach to sports betting and player quality, not just being lucky and being on the winning side of more bets. Of course, the past 2 quarters have been really bad for sports books, which just got hammered in the NFL playoffs, and then that continued into March Madness. But it looks like Q2 is shaping up to be much better for them.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Want to hear a crazy stat, guys, with this Pittsburgh Pirate team? I brought this up yesterday. Out of 106 games, they have been involved in 27 shutouts, 13-4, 14 against. Over 1 out of every 4 Pittsburgh Pirate games ends in a shutout. How crazy is that?
Total is 8 tonight.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
It was already pretty solid up top, but you had the bottom that's that much better with Ryan O'Hearn and Lariano. Like, we now have a well-rounded lineup on top of a great pitching staff. Michael King is expected to start making his rehab starts. So you have him plus Pavetta plus Dylan Cease. You Darvish is back. You have the frontline pitching, the depth of the lineup, and now a great bullpen. You have it all.
I really like it. Like I do. Like sometimes I get caught up in the Padres of what they can be.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
We don't care where you were drafted. You outperform somebody, you're going to be on that football field. Now, again, there are extenuating circumstances where you draft a quarterback number 3 overall. Yeah, they're going to try him out for the next 3 to 4 years, even if he's not as good as anybody on that roster. But from Shadur's perspective, that's probably the case. Tyler Huntley, Shador Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Deshaun Watson. There's a lot of names on that list, not a lot of good names on that list, so he can earn a job on this football team.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back. It is In-Game Live Game Day here on the grid. Scott and Gabe, hour number 1. We got some preseason football. Though we had the game last Thursday, but everyone has different ways to say the football season is back. This kind of day is it for me. 3 games, that's it. 1 is just an anomaly. That was an accident. But football's back with 3. We got a bunch tomorrow and a bunch over the weekend. So why not bring in our good buddy, Mr. Zig Fracassi, SiriusXM NFL radio host and update person, does just about everything over there, including NHL radio. So what's going on, Zig? How are you tonight, bud?
Scotty, doing great as always. Gabe, good to be with you.
Good to see you, Zig. Let's rock and roll. The preseason has begun, and we went underdogs tonight. I went contrarian. It was like Dave Mustaine of Megadeth once said, so far, so good, so what? It's like, oh, you're starting quarterback? Good for you. Give me the underdog, right? So far, so good in this Colt game. AR got blown up early, unchecked, and we'll see what happens in this Cincinnati-Philadelphia game. But me and Wetzel brought it up. A lot of points being scored early tonight in these preseason games.
Yeah, there is, Gabe. And to your point, Anthony Richardson got sacked. It wasn't even blocked by Ojabo of the Ravens. He wound up leaving the game with a finger injury, so he wasn't to return. Daniel Jones, who was actually supposed to get the start next week against Green Bay, had to mop up, do a little more duty there. So, and I think we were talking about this off the air, too. If you noticed on these kickoffs, you're seeing these kickers purposely trying to put more air under the ball and position the ball so it doesn't become an automatic touchback. So now, where the new rule kicks in, it'll be on the 35-yard line if it's a touchback. So they're obviously trying to encourage more kickoffs. And then you mentioned Cincinnati, Philadelphia. boy, the Bengals went up and down the field both times. Burrow and his offense were out there. That was by design. Zach Taylor said earlier in the preseason that Burrow and Chase and company were going to play a little more. But if I'm Al Golden and I'm at that defense, my gosh, Philly had their second stringers up there, and they moved the ball easily on most of their first units. So you got to wonder at some point.
Sounds just like last year.
Exactly.
The Bengals offense scores and the defense gives up points.
Exactly. And then you got to wonder, where's Trey Hendrickson? Does this drive up his value a little bit more? So you're going to see some more scoring. I think you'll see some points tonight in that Raiders-Seahawks game. Pete Carroll's return to Seattle, by the way.
Yeah, what do you make of that? What do you think? The whole world seems to be on the Raiders, laying 4.5 up from the 2.5, I guess it was, to open it up. Not only Pete Carroll, but Geno Smith, got pushed out of town as well. So, so you got two reasons for them. I don't know how long Geno's going to play, but do you buy into that? It's up to 5.5 right now on FanDuel in New York here.
I could see the logic of that simply because, Pete Carroll did have, 10 good years up there, and you got to think there's a little bit of extra motivation. And then from the Seattle side, you mentioned Geno Smith left there for the Raiders, and for a 10-win team, a lot of change, especially at quarterback. Mike McDonald kind of implementing what Sean McDermott did in Buffalo after his first year there. There was a playoff team. They gutted it, made it his own team. That's what they're doing in Seattle. That could take a little bit of a transition, I think, for the Seahawks.
This game tonight, guys, you bet on the Seahawks. Don't forget, they do have Drew Lock, right? So you always got to like when you got a quarterback that has played games before. But really, it's going to be Jalen Milroe time, guys, in the second half.
Yeah.
The Seahawks drafted Jalen Milroe. They want to get a look at him tonight. McDonald basically said, we're letting the kids play tonight. We want to see what they can do. And I don't know, Zig, what your take and your take, Scott, is. He can throw a bomb. He's very athletic. So it's one of those deals that I get the feeling he's going to perform tonight, Milroe. He's got a ton of talent. You know what I mean? This kid. He's very raw, but he's got a ton of talent. And we talk about it. You guys know in the preseason, the best situation is if your quarterback can at least take off if stuff breaks down. And stuff breaks down a lot in the second half of these games. So I think Milroe's legs can keep us in it with the point spread, guys.
That's a fair point. Yeah, and Milroe is a kid who to some was polarizing because there were instances when he played at Alabama that he looked absolutely great, but then there were some games, you wondered what he was doing. And, maybe it was the transition of coach from Saban, to the guy they brought in from the University of Washington, Caleb DeBoer. So maybe that was part of it too. So Well, it'll be interesting to see. You may be onto something there, Gabe, about them hanging around a little bit.
What are your impressions of? Yeah. Let me go back to the Colts game. Listen, AR's had his issues right there in Indianapolis. Begging out of the game last year because he was too tired. I mean, he got just crushed. If he only had a finger injury, guys, then he's lucky because he just got. This was 1970s. Just crush you, right?
That's where his size helps him, Scott. He's so big, right? That's where his size helps him.
He's a big guy. How about the notion, guys, of, hey, coach, put me back in there. Let me show my teammates something. I took a monster hit. I was down. I was out. But you know what? Let me get back in there for at least one series and show a little something to my teammates. Too goofy, game, Cam? Or Cam. Zig?
I'll let Zig go first. Ron, I'll say no. I'll disagree with you on it, but I'll let Zig go.
Okay. No, I'm with Gabe here because they said a finger injury. Lord knows, hopefully it isn't dislocated or broken or anything like that. And if it's the guide finger that on his throwing hand, that could be problematic. So until you know the actual injury, I'm sure he may have pitched the idea to Coach Steichen, but I think in the end they probably erred on the side of caution.
And I think they're worried. The fact that AR starts first. Daniel Jones is the option, Scott, right? So, if you're the Colts, you drafted, put it this way, if you're Ballard, who, you're not going to say your job's on the line, but you freaking drafted this kid fifth overall, whatever the hell it was, fifth overall, and he blows up after 2 years. Not a good look, Scott, right? It could it be Daniel Jones out for the job? So the Colts want AR to win this job.
Right.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt. Right. But
that's what I'm saying. They don't want to get him killed tonight. That was my point. That's where I was going with that.
No, but Scotty did bring up that, the injury history and the fact, he was on limited work when he was at Florida in the first place. It almost in some ways looked like Trubisky all over again, a guy who was drafted so high. Yet,
overdrafted. It's not his fault, Zig, but he was overdrafted. That's same with Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones never should have been drafted 7th overall, right? But and then they get blamed for it. The player gets blamed for it.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
He's got a little Jamarcus Russell in him. Big, tall, strong, throw the football 100 miles an hour, 100-yard, but can he throw it on a dime? No. He'll be throwing it to left field when he's supposed to be throwing it to right. So, all right. How about a couple games tomorrow? Anything jump off the page with the tomorrow preseason games for you, Zeke?
Not really. I just look at this in terms of, obviously player evaluation. Like I'm going to be curious how much, Shedeur Sanders actually plays, for the Cleveland Browns. Maybe because they've got injuries to the quarterback situation, he may wind up playing at least a half because you already got Pinkett hurt and also, the other quarterbacks hurt as well. So Dylan Gabriel. So they've already got injuries there. You're not going to play Flacco. They just signed Huntley off the streets. So that'll be interesting to see if they give Shedeur some extended time and how, he's able to grasp the moment. So, and that's how it basically is. Most teams have their starters already set, and, it's going to be interesting. And then seeing what went on today, guys. Chargers lose Slater for the year, potentially.
Devastating.
The Texans lose potentially for the year. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who they brought over from the Eagles in the offseason. And these weren't even in games, guys. So those are going to be some big injuries to monitor.
Yeah, listen, I'm not one that goes super conservative. You got to use common sense, but you said it, man. These guys can get hurt in practice. You get hurt walking out the car. Football is just a brutal sport. It just is. You need so much depth. People don't appreciate how good you need to be. So, Zig, great job as always. Check him out, SiriusXM NFL Radio, for all the Zig Picasso you can handle. Thanks, Zig. We'll do it again soon.
They're in a decent spot. They actually had a really great quarter this past quarter, and they're crediting what they're calling a smarter approach to sports betting and player quality, not just being lucky and being on the winning side of more bets. Of course, the past 2 quarters have been really bad for sports books, which just got hammered in the NFL playoffs, and then that continued into March Madness. But it looks like Q2 is shaping up to be much better for them.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Want to hear a crazy stat, guys, with this Pittsburgh Pirate team? I brought this up yesterday. Out of 106 games, they have been involved in 27 shutouts, 13-4, 14 against. Over 1 out of every 4 Pittsburgh Pirate games ends in a shutout. How crazy is that?
Total is 8 tonight.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Was already pretty solid up top, but you had the bottom that's that much better with Ryan O'Hearn and Lariano. We now have a well-rounded lineup on top of a great pitching staff. Michael King is expected to start making his rehab starts. So you have him plus Pavetta plus Dylan Cease. Darvish is back. You have the frontline pitching, the depth of the lineup, and now a great bullpen. You have it all.
I really like it. I do. Sometimes I get caught up in the Padres of what they can be.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
We don't care where you were drafted. You outperform somebody, you're going to be on that football field. Now, again, there are extenuating circumstances where you draft a quarterback number 3 overall. Yeah, they're going to try him out for the next 3 to 4 years, even if he's not as good as anybody on that roster. But from Shedeur's perspective, that's probably the case. Tyler Huntley, Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Deshaun Watson. There's a lot of names on that list, not a lot of good names on that list, so he can earn a job on this football team.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
I wanted 250.
Yeah. Welcome back in Game Live, Game Day here on the Grid. Thanks to Zig Fracassi for joining us. Gabe and I just talking to a little pop quiz I like to give.
Yeah, Wetzel said, "Hey, Mbako, like she qualified for." I said, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, she'll be in the U.S. Open now." And he said, "What do you think of her?" She said, the odds are up at FanDuel. She's listed. And I said, "I don't know, what is she, like 250 to 1?" And Scott's like, no, you're way off. And I was like, am I being greedy as the better? I want 250 to 1. 19 to 1. 19 to 1. Like, who's ahead of her? Like, seriously, like, so Goff, Osaka, Sabalenka, obviously.
Right.
Swiatek. All right. So who else?
Andreeva, Madison Keys, and Anisimova.
So there's not that many. What is she, like the 8th or 9th? Wow.
Yeah,
like, so she's getting a lot of respect, like, pretty quickly.
She's ahead of Pegula. Even Jessica Pegula, who's never won a big match in her life, is 36 to 1.
She just beat, like, the top players in the world. And in pretty impressive fashion, Scott, in the sense that, like, there's a way that you win. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if a football team wins on a Hail Mary or, they kick the crap out of them. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
To see her lose the first set, be in these tiebreakers, grind through, and beat these veteran women out there, she showed a hell of a lot. And I guess the odds makers, they're showing her a lot of respect right now.
Yeah. I think they know, the moment this tournament ended, they're all thinking the same thing. They're thinking like I thought, right? Okay, let me go check the U.S. Open. Starts in 2 weeks. Let me see what our odds are. So you want a better, right? And so I think they know that there's probably an influx of bettors right now on her. It's like, why give her a 200 to 1 or 50 to 1?
We might get 25 to 1 next week. This is the worst time to bet her. She's hot right now. Yeah. She's hot. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah.
But she beat three women that are ranked ahead, or not ranked, but that are odds wise ahead of her.
There was another one. She beat a fourth one. This is the fourth player. Like we'll get the other one that she beat earlier in the week. But the WTA is crazy, Scott, because you were talking about Cincinnati. It's already started in Cincinnati, and they wrapped up here. So it's like you get eliminated, you go to the next town. Like you play in the championship. Yeah. Like it's relentless. Like they don't even start. Like they're not even getting a day off. Like it stops and starts. And it's pretty crazy. A Canadian girl has won 2 weeks in a row now. Layla Fernandez won the DC event 2 weeks ago. And it was disappointing for her because she's actually from Montreal. All right. So the tournament's in Montreal. She's from Montreal. She wins the week before on the WTA tour. Scott, she won on the Sunday. They had her playing on Monday in Montreal. Monday, Scott. She lost. She was in tears, bro, after. She said, this ruined winning in Washington. I wanted to come home and, play well. Or, I lost. I'm so sorry. She played, less than 24 hours later. They screwed her, bro. They screwed her.
Even if the tournament started out on Monday, they could have made her at least start on a Tuesday.
Yes, that's what people said. They said, and get this, she even played during the day. People were like, you couldn't even put her at the last match of the night. You know what I mean? She got smoked, Scott. She lost 6-1, 6-2 type thing. She got killed.
Right. Oh, that's funny. That's sad. Why do they do things? You just wonder sometimes why. Just be a little smart to give the woman a break. I mean, crazy. But yeah, maybe I don't know. 19 to 1. What it kind of does is. Normally speaking, 19 to 1, you want to have a winning ticket. Yeah, 19 to 1, right? But when you think it's going to be 50 to 1 or 60 to 1, then you realize it's only 19 to 1. It's like, fudge.
That's listen, even if she goes, even making it to the semifinals, if she makes it to the semifinals of the U.S. Open, then this girl's the next thing almost, right? Then it's okay, this is getting for real right now. We'll see. But for her to actually win tonight with the wrist and last night, the tiebreakers, it's unbelievable stuff. But can't wait for the U.S. Open. And one good thing I love about the U.S. Open, it sort of symbolizes football season too, Scott. Right? I have great memories of the U.S. Open final and an NFL game. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? All sort of wrapped up together. It's the U.S. Open and football. Yeah. It's all it's a great. I get goosebumps. Great time of the year to be a sports fan and a sports bettor at that time.
Yeah. Really is. You got baseball winding down. You know, all the pennant races, division races are really heating up in September. It's the first week generally of the NFL season.
Yeah, they do Labor Day, don't they? It's the Labor Day.
Yeah.
It's a holiday. You got tennis going on. It's awesome. Yeah.
And they draw real well. I used to go cover that for a local radio station, so I've been there many times. They really draw for the U.S. Open here in New York. They do like that. They do appreciate
it's one of the showcase events of the city.
Yeah.
Let's be real. That's just big time, you know?
It really is. Pain to get in and get out, but what isn't in New York?
What isn't?
Yeah. Well,
That's the one thing I like about MSG, right? MSG is that at least you're already there, right? You walk out, it's like the Barclays Center, which I enjoyed. I used to go to net games with Corey Parson, and dude, we got lost and it'd take hours. It was always an adventure. Like, you know what I mean? You get stuck, whatever. It was always something, right? Like MSG. And God forbid, MetLife Stadium. That's another story. I have PTSD thinking about MetLife Stadium.
Yeah, forget it. That is a whole day. We're trying to take the kids over there. By the way, touchdown Eagles. So now
first half. Imagine you played the first half money line. There were 6-point underdogs in the first half.
That's where I was going to go, Gabe. Imagine if you played a Ravens-Eagles money line. I mean, I didn't think about it. I like both dogs, but it's like, I did look it up.
Yeah. And I'm not calling loud out, but remember, those little favorite teaser things that we both said. We said, there's all kinds of blowouts in the preseason. We shut it down. We're like, no, it's not a smart idea. And look, right now, there's a ton of people, not just him. I heard other people, we're going to play the Colts on a money line parlay. And I'm like, you guys are putting a lot of confidence in the Colts tonight. I got to tell you.
Yeah. The philosophy doesn't change with Harbaugh. I mean, you're not going to cover every single game. That 18-game run or whatever it was, 17, 18, 19, I mean, that's
it was
a
like
phenomenal run.
It was crazy. It was like 24, 23, 24.
Right? So it's almost like they were punishing him because, oh, my God, he actually didn't cover a game.
He was 0-6 against the spread the last 2 years because they were overvalued. The odds makers caught up to it. They were actually 2-4 straight up. The sky didn't fall as much as people made out. You know what I mean?
Right. So they're leading big, and then Philadelphia's leading final minute and a half. All right, in Game Live, we'll come back with our Black Cloud play of the day.
They're in a decent spot. They actually had a really great quarter this past quarter, and they're crediting what they're calling a smarter approach to sports betting and player quality, not just being lucky and being on the winning side of more bets. Of course, the past 2 quarters have been really bad for sports books, which just got hammered in the NFL playoffs, and then that continued into March Madness, but it looks like Q2 is shaping up to be much better for them.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Want to hear a crazy stat, guys, with this Pittsburgh Pirate team? I brought this up yesterday. Out of 106 games, they have been involved in 27 shutouts, 13 for, 14 against. Over 1 out of every 4 Pittsburgh Pirate games ends in a shutout. How crazy is that?
Total is 8 tonight.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Was already pretty solid up top, but you had the bottom that's that much better with Ryan O'Hearn and Lariano. We now have a well-rounded lineup on top of a great pitching staff. Michael King is expected to start making his rehab starts. So you have him plus Pavetta plus Dylan Cease. Darvish is back. You have the frontline pitching, the depth in the lineup, and now a great bullpen. You have it all.
I really like it. I do. Sometimes I get caught up in the Padres of what they can be.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
We don't care where you were drafted. You outperform somebody, you're going to be on that football field. Now, again, there are extenuating circumstances where you draft a quarterback number 3 overall. Yeah, they're going to try him out for the next 3 to 4 years, even if he's not as good as anybody on that roster. But from Shadur's perspective, that's probably the case. Tyler Huntley, Shadur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Deshaun Watson. There's a lot of names on that list, not a lot of good names on that list, so he can earn a job on this football team.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Hi, welcome back. It is In-Game Live Game Day here on the Grid. Scott and Gabe closing out hour number 1. You know what we do? Our Black Cloud Play of the Day. All right, I'm going to, I don't know if it's good news, bad news that these first 2 preseason games are high scoring. Look like both are going to go over because I'm going to use naturally the third game as the one that I'm going to, go over.
I'm on the under, Wetzel. I don't want to be the weather report guy, your black cloud on the meteorologist. I'm sorry. Yeah. I could be wrong, though, because I was thinking, yeah, that's the one. I already bet the under, and you already bet the over. We're both stuck with it, so go on. Sorry.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You know why I did it? I looked at the backup quarterbacks, and I said, you know what? I got Aiden O'Connell on one side, and say what you want. At least he played a bunch of games last year, right? So he's halfway decent. They got this kid, Cam Miller. Yeah. They got Carson Wentz Jr. and Cam Miller from North Dakota State. He's pretty good, all things considered. I got Jalen Milroe, who's, you said, these scrambling quarterbacks tend to do much, much better in these preseason games because everything breaks down, but they're good enough to go get a bunch of yards. They're faster than the backup defensive lineman. And I got Drew Lock. So I got, increased atmosphere with Geno and Pete Carroll coming back. That generally leads to points. Maybe we get a drive out of Darnold and Geno, maybe. But even if we don't, we got 4 decent quarterbacks. So
I don't want to upset you.
That much.
I don't want to upset you. It came down a point, though. It's come down to 36.5, just for the record.
Whoa.
That's a big number, I'm like, too. Really? Interesting, huh? But, Scott, that was before kickoff. So let's see. Let me double check. Look at your book, too. So I'm going to look at Bet365 here. Yeah. Just to say, because like you said, yeah, you see 36.5. Because you said these first 2 games are sort of sailing over the number. I wondered if it had an influence on the betting market. Often it will. People, oh, my God, look, these games are sailing over, right? No, people aren't biting on it. It's come down a point. Interesting, huh?
And that 37 is, for over-unders, that's, it's not quite like 7 or 3, but it's kind of a key number. Yeah, 27-10. So you cross that 37, that's not like going from 39 to 38. Who cares? So but that's all right. You know what? If it's the first line move that loses, believe you me, it wouldn't be the first. So I'll stick to my guns, and I'll still go over 36.5 if you want now 36.5. Not bad.
Yeah, I'm saying you get a better number now. Yeah. I got screwed, actually, Scott, because I like the under 37.5, and I posted my picks on X, actually. And it was the last game. And I bet bigger units tonight. I got a CFL game, touchdown BC Lions for the record. I got a CFL game. I'm betting first half sides of all these games. So I said, you know what? I'll bet the Seattle game, a little bit later on. You know what I mean? Let's let a couple of, it's the late game. Right. You know what I mean? I'll bet this late game later. I bet WNBA games. Then I started to say, no, you know what, this line, I didn't like the line move because, like you said, it got up to 5.5, and I saw it move down to 5. I was like, no. I don't want 4.5. I want 5 plus 5. So I got in on the 5, and then I was like, damn, it's not 37.5 anymore. It's 36.5. And they're really charging a lot, Scott, in the preseason to buy a point. Like I looked like I want to buy a half a point in one of these games. Right. 42 cents, Scott, for half a point.
Whoa.
It should be 10 cents.
Yeah.
It should be 10 cents. 42 cents. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. Like, no. I'm not saying minus 152. Like, I'm not doing this. Like,
what was it, like 3 to 3.5 or 2.5 to 3?
Yeah, it was the 6.5 to 7. I just took a peek at the Eagle game. It was yeah. But then I said, whatever, screw you guys. Like, there's no key numbers in the preseason anyways. Yeah, really look at this. The Eagles scored again, Scott. It's 24-14. They scored again.
They intercepted a pass. They brought it down to the Bengals 20-yard line. Next play, touchdown pass. I don't know who it is. I don't know who's the quarterback now.
They get in front of the Eagles, bro. All they do is win money. The Eagles. Yeah. The regular season, I don't care. I'm not betting against this Eagle team anymore.
And it's still McKee. He played the whole first half.
Tanner
How
McKee.
About this then? This is the danger, Gabe, of like announcing to the world basically like the Bengals did. Yeah, we're going to play seriously now. We're going to have our starters play, and we want to get into the regular season on a higher note. And what happens when you lose? You tell the world you're really trying and you still lose.
If you're Zach Taylor, that's good. It's like you're on the plane and you're like, we actually tried tonight. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, we wanted to win. We tried. We got 2 touchdowns from Burrow, and they're losing by double digits, Scott. Not just losing, double digits.
They're already giving up 24 points in the first half to a backup Philadelphia Eagles team. None of the Eagles starters, quarterback-wise, wide receivers, and they still put 24.
You don't need to play Burrow in the preseason. You need to do some of your defense in the preseason.
Yeah.
They're in a decent spot. They actually had a really great quarter this past quarter, and they're crediting what they're calling a smarter approach to sports betting and player quality, not just being lucky and being on the winning side of more bets. Of course, the past 2 quarters have been really bad for sports books, which just got hammered in the NFL playoffs, and then that continued into March Madness. But it looks like Q2 is shaping up to be much better for them.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
You want to hear a crazy stat, guys, with this Pittsburgh Pirate team? I brought this up yesterday. Out of 106 games, they have been involved in 27 shutouts, 13-4, 14 against. Over 1 out of every 4 Pittsburgh Pirate games ends in a shutout. How crazy is that?
Total is 8 tonight.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Was already pretty solid up top, but you had the bottom that's that much better with Ryan O'Hearn and Lariano. Like, we now have a well-rounded lineup on top of a great pitching staff. Michael King is expected to start making his rehab starts. So you have him plus Pavetta plus Dylan Cease. You Darvish is back. You have the frontline pitching, the depth of the lineup, and now a great bullpen. You have it all.
I really like it. Like I do. Like sometimes I get caught up in the Padres of what they can be.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
We don't care where you were drafted. You outperform somebody, you're going to be on that football field. Now, again, there are extenuating circumstances where you draft a quarterback number 3 overall. Yeah, they're going to try him out for the next 3 to 4 years, even if he's not as good as anybody on that roster. But from Shadur's perspective, that's probably the case. Tyler Huntley, Shadur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Deshaun Watson. There's a lot of names on that list, not a lot of good names on that list, so he can earn a job on this football team.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back. It is hour number 2 in-game live game day here on the grid. Scott and Gabe making some money on this Thursday evening. Winners with the WNBA, little tennis, little baseball, and obviously preseason football. The games have just reached halftime. So with that, why don't we got another game starting in about an hour or so. We got a WNBA game starting in about an hour. We got one going on. So let's bring in our next guest, Gabe, Rob Zwacky from PickDogs.com, the website PickDogs.com for all his plays. Rod, Scott, and Gabe, how are you tonight, bud?
Doing good. Hey, thanks for having me on the show. Looking at stuff. Hey, excited to be here. Excited for the NFL to be back. Hey, you name it, I love sports. So let's get to it.
All right, let's start there. Give me your impressions. We'll be in Baltimore and Indianapolis. All the thinking, Colts were going to come into Baltimore and win. They're going to start Anthony Richardson. They're going to play this guy. They're going to play that guy, and they're down 21-9. What do you think of that one?
For me, I look at that. I go ahead and hey, look at this game. Everybody was all high on the Colts and their 2 big quarterbacks. Who's going to be the number 1 QB there in Indy? You've got 2 guys, and that was the big talk that they were going to start their starters and run it up on this Baltimore squad that was not deep in depth and not going to be able to hang around. They lost some of their backup QBs in Baltimore, but hey, look what they did. That line moved crazy in that game as well. In that Colts game, and there was no way I was on Baltimore. I was not going to back. For me personally, I'm not laying points in preseason NFL. You're looking at dogs most of the way. Anything over 3, I'll be definitely pointed in the dog direction on most of these preseason games.
Yeah, you know what? Exactly. You can take a favorite. The Bills are 1-point favorites against the Giants. even though the Giants are talking about playing their guys. Giants are actually interesting in the preseason, guys, because they have an interesting quarterback room, Scott. Right? You've got Jameis Winston. You've got Jackson Dart, who has impressed people in camp. You got Russell Wilson. So, and it goes to show the respect for the Bills, that the Bills are, you know what I mean, that they're still favorites when you look at the firepower that the Giants have from the preseason perspective. Rob, what do you think about the Raiders and the Seahawks? Say you don't want to lay points. Everybody, revenge game for Pete Carroll. And, Scott, you and I talked about Pete Carroll can win this game tonight and feel pretty happy, but not by 6 points. They're laying 5 points right now. Seattle, caused the storm. Well, we're not playing any of our starters, but they still have Drew Lock. You got Jalen Milroe, who's really, going to be the one with the game on the line in the second half on the football field. Me and Scott have been riding the dogs tonight. I'm going to continue, except tonight, instead of the dog, we're riding the Hawk, the Seahawks, +5. Or you go with the underdog with the late game tonight?
For me, I'm looking at this. I like the under here in this one tonight. We're seeing this at 36.5, right? Is the total in this one? You know what? I don't see this as a sling fest like we've seen in this Eagles game where we've already got 24-14 and we're just entering the half. I just don't see it. I think you come into Seattle. Seattle, they want to have that defense up and going, slow things up. I don't expect this to be a shootout type game. So for me in this one, I'm with you. I don't want to lay anything more than 5 with a favorite. So I lean to the total going under 36.5 here in this one. I just think it's a lower scoring game. I think I got this like probably 17-14, somewhere in that range here tonight. But that'll sneak us underneath this total of 36. I've actually made this.
I like the under too.
Give me the under 36.5 here in this.
Scott, I know you're on the over. I'm worried, though, Scott, like you said, that's a key number, man. That 36.5, 37.5. 2017 is a possibility tonight. And that's still kind of a low-scoring game, and we get pinched. So I do get the feeling there's just a lot of running. I think Seattle's defense, McDonald's a defensive guy. They have a lot of young studs on defense, the Seahawks. Yeah, there's sort of this thing that, like, Seattle won't care. It is a home game for them. Right. And Seattle's a little different, Scott. Like, it's one of those, they really love the team. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm watching it. They've been broadcasting on all the local affiliates, like, all day long. And it's a freaking preseason game, bro. Like, they're outside the stadium. Like, they're fired up for this. Like,
tailgating already in Seattle.
We're getting mixed messages here, Rod. Tell me, help me out here. You got a Buffalo Bills cap on, but I see a Miami Dolphins banner. So me being a Dolphin fan, are you on our side or are you against us here?
For me, this year, I've been a Dolphins fan since Dan Marino's been around, and he made the Super Bowl versus the 49ers. So I've been cheering for the Dolphins since then. For me to be straight up and transparent, I don't like the Dolphins coach until he's out of there and they get rid of that guy. I can't back the Dolphins at all.
Yeah, I gotta say,
coach. I don't like signing them up. So guess what? You know who I'm on this year? It's Buffalo Bills Mafia. I hope you got to sign up for me because I love them to win the AFC this year. And I've already made that future bet. They win the AFC and punch their ticket and get back to the Super Bowl. Do the Buffalo Bills.
Good eye, Scott. I was looking at the board and stuff, and I swear, like, I sort of noticed the Bills hat. I didn't really, like, notice the Dolphins. So that, like, kicks in. And this goes back to, and your boy Sherapan, Scott, where it was like last year, and I couldn't accept it. He was wearing a Dodger hat and a Giant jersey, like, or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you just can't do this. Like, and I told him, Dave, like, I love you, bro, but this just does. You just can't, like. It's like wearing a Montreal Canadian, Boston Red Sox hat and a Yankee jersey, or a Montreal Canadiens hat and a Boston Bruins jersey. It's like, so yeah, the Dolphins. But from a betting, and I'm a diehard Bills fan, so we'll welcome him aboard. But it's trendy, Scott. You see everybody. A lot of people think the Bills are going to win the Super Bowl this year. All these fans of different teams saying, I'm jumping on the Bills.
Why do you like Buffalo so much, Rod?
You look at Josh Allen, you're going to have that whole offensive line back that was protected him last year. So that's the first thing that I love. He's not going to get beat up so much. Nothing like returning an offensive line to protect him. Cook is a holdout right now on the running back position, but he'll sign. They'll get that deal done. and he'll be in the backfield running the ball. It's just a matter of time, and they'll come up to agreement there. And then I like the wide receiver core that they got. Buffalo always running a bunch of tight ends. I like who they got there. And defensively, hey, nothing like starting the year and beating Baltimore again. You're 4-0 at home playing Baltimore, and nothing like week 1 having Baltimore come in. You beat them in the playoffs last year, and nothing like Baltimore thinking they're going to get revenge coming into your building to start the year and win that week 1. I don't think so. I think Buffalo wins and says a statement. It makes a big statement there in week 1 and go, you still got to beat us, and you didn't beat us last year. You're not beating us this year. Buffalo
big time Sunday nighter.
Yeah. The schedule works out for them, guys, in that, listen, it's a hard schedule. It's a first-place schedule. But I will say at least all these really, really good games are at home. Baltimore at home, Kansas City at home, Cincinnati at home, Philadelphia at home. Right? Yeah. I mean, if you're going to play those guys, it's better to play them at home, right?
It's amazing, though. Yeah, finally. Like, you know how many times the Bills have gone to Kansas City, Scott? It's almost the annual trip. Well, why is it in KC every year? Like, you know what I mean? Finally, it's in Buffalo, Finally, it's in Buffalo.
Who do you like, San Fran and Denver on Saturday, Rod?
And for me, you look at this one. You look at what the Broncos have been doing. Hey, they've had those the joint practices, as they say, and the Broncos have been dominant in those joint practices. But as we've seen here tonight, we've seen the Dogs step up. So this line's moved. It's all the way up. You can grab the 49ers. I see it a +6 right now. I would grab the 49ers plus the 6 because you look. Bo Nix, hey, he's looked good in the practice and looked well doing it, but how long is he going to stay in there? And then after Bo Nix, what do you get? Stridham and Ellinger?
Cool. Great job, Rod. Appreciate it. BigDogs.com, DAWGZ.com.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
Rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Hi, welcome back. It is In-Game Live Game Day here on the Grid. Thanks again, Rob Zawacki. Follow him or check out all his work, pickdogs.com. That's P-I-C-K, dogs, D-A-W-G-Z. Not D-O-G-S, as you would think, but pickdogs.com. So appreciate a couple minutes with him. So a little preseason football. We got the baseball. Quirky little thing, Gabe, with baseball. We haven't done too much because there's only 2 games, right? So one of them is Pittsburgh. 7. The over-under today was 7.5. So you're holding on. Bottom of the 8th inning. Pittsburgh's got a runner on first base with 1 out. Skeens, he was on pace for a monster game. He had 6 strikeouts. Let me double check and see how many he finished up with. But he had 6 through 4. They gave his number at 7.5 today. They really bumped it up, and I went under. Yeah, he finishes with 8 naturally. So I heard a stat with Skeens. He's now thrown 24 straight games without allowing a run in the first inning, which, 9 times out of 10 for a starting pitcher is a bugaboo, right? The first inning, and then the guys throw shutout baseball after that. So obviously the play is right under, half a run, 1 run, whatever. First inning, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati today. So what happens? He throws shutout baseball, top of the first, and then Pittsburgh scores 3 runs in the bottom of the first, and the first inning goes over anyway. It's just like, man, you can't win for losing sometimes. You just can't win for losing.
I've got, we talk about these mind-blowing stats where it's like, really? I can't believe that hasn't happened more. I don't know if you saw the Shohei Ohtani since the RBIs only became official. They didn't count like a lot of these stats before. So RBIs became official in 1920. So since 1920, Shohei Ohtani is the only Major League Baseball player to hit a home run, strike out 8 or more batters, drive in 2 more runs than he allowed, draw more walks than he allowed, and he lost the game. That's pretty crazy. So, they ended up losing the game. But how about this with the Milwaukee Brewers? Because the Blue Jays, the Blue Jays were the first team. The Blue Jays had 63 hits, guys, in their series. How about this, Scott? They were the first Major League Baseball team over a 3-game series to have 63 hits in a series since 1933.
Wow.
1933.
It is a lot.
The New York Giants.
Wow.
Once again, I guess in Colorado, you're right, you figure, but that's not a mind-blowing one because that is a lot. It is a lot of hits. But how about this about the Brewers, Scott? This one will blow your mind. The Brewers are the first team in Major League Baseball history to have a road trip where they scored 50 or more runs, didn't lose a game, and didn't commit an error.
Wow.
Not even an error.
That's pretty cool. That's, that alone.
They might be better than I'm giving them credit for when I see this. And when I say, the Brewers, they're not. But once again, we talked about it. They're like the 7th choice. Like, people think Mboko, the 18-year-old girl, can win a U.S. Open as much as they think the Brewers can win the World Series.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean,
in the same range, like 7 to 7th, 9th, you know what I'm saying?
But then you go back to they only got 3 hitters hitting 10 home runs or more. It's like the goofiest thing. And those teams that, go base by base, the St. Louis Cardinals.
They play real baseball, this team.
They play real baseball. Bunt the guy over, sacrifice, generally don't try and put 8 runs on the board, try and win 4-2. If they, the next series is against the Mets, right? No better time to be facing the Mets than right now. They're scuffling. And then they have some other, I think it's Pittsburgh after that. And then they have like 4 or 5 series, I forget, we'll look it up here, that are like really tough. And if they can get through those, 3 or 4 series after that, eventually you got to buy in, right? I mean, eventually. Or maybe not. Maybe you don't. You just say, you know what, Scott? No. They're still going to have to face the Dodgers.
Do you have it open? What's their number? Let me see. Let me get an updated number on them here.
10-1, 11-1, I think it was from yesterday.
I don't know if we're going to get a better. Series. I don't know, World Series. Let's say I don't think we're going to get a better number than now. Like it's only going to start to go down, right? People don't pay attention to them. So do you just want to take them? Let's see.
11-1.
So they're moving up. They're actually moving up the board, Scott. Here, I'm seeing FanDuel right now. The Dodgers first, Philly second. Yeah. Tigers third, which I don't like really. The Tigers aren't winning the World Series. Yeah. The Milwaukee Brewers 11-1. The Astros 11-1. Mariners down to 12-1 now. Yeah, I'd rather take the Mariners at 12-1 than the Brewers.
Yeah, it's amazing. And the Dodgers are actually up to 260.
Yeah,
Which,
you know what? If they get up to like plus 350 or something, Scott, I'm going to bite on it. Yeah, like give me plus 300 and I'll start to pay attention to that. Yeah.
They were at 220, 230 for the longest time.
Dude, they were plus 165 at some spots before.
Whoa.
Like they were down below 200, plus 180 and stuff. Like a month ago.
Crazy.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I think that's only going to go higher. If they continue to struggle, obviously, and it looks like maybe they won't win the division, or they're going to, even if they do, they're going to be the third division winner, and they got to play in that goofy best of 3 to start the postseason. That'll come higher, but you're right. You know, if that gets close to 3-1, that would be a tough number to pass up. But you get, I tell you, baseball does a pretty good job, right? The Brewers' best record in baseball, 11-1. Seattle, with all the moves they've made, they've yet to lose since they made all these. Or they lost one time, actually. I think they're 5-1 since all those trades, and you're still getting 12-1 on them.
No, you're right.
You're getting halfway decent numbers.
Yeah, no, you're right. I agree with that. That's why I'm saying, like, it's almost these numbers won't be there in September. You know what I'm saying? So, they're all going to be 8-1 and 7-1. It's not 12-1s anymore. So that's sort of my point. But how about this one? And I love the Dodgers, but you and I talked about, like, wow, it's crazy how they're minus 10, 1,000, 10-1 to win a division. And they got a 2-game lead, 2.5, 1.5, etc. It's down to 650 right now. But from a betting perspective, you can't say that there's not value on San Diego at plus 460. I mean, this division chase is real. Like, it's real. It's caught off for what it is.
Yeah. I mean, you think that there's no way the Dodgers are going to lose, right? Eventually, they're going to turn things around and start playing baseball. But, yeah, listen.
They play the Blue Jays this weekend, too? What a series, bro. The Blue Jays at L.A. this weekend.
That should be fun. I mean, if it hasn't happened after 120 games, what makes you think? I mean, they're getting a little healthier? Yeah. Mookie Betts has basically been healthy. This team is, they're not like.
But they're still good, Scott. They're not bad, but they're not like the runaway best team. I think that's what people need to acknowledge. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you know as well as I do, baseball, anyone can win. It's not like college basketball or something,
Right. Exactly.
They're in a decent spot. They actually had a really great quarter this past quarter, and they're crediting what they're calling a smarter approach to sports betting and player quality, not just being lucky and being on the winning side of more bets. Of course, the past 2 quarters have been really bad for sportsbooks, which just got hammered in the NFL playoffs, and then that continued into March Madness. But it looks like Q2 is shaping up to be much better for them.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
You want to hear a crazy stat, guys, with this Pittsburgh Pirate team? I brought this up yesterday. Out of 106 games, they have been involved in 27 shutouts, 13-4, 14 against. Over 1 out of every 4 Pittsburgh Pirate games ends in a shutout. How crazy is that?
Total is 8 tonight.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
It was already pretty solid up top, but you had the bottom that's that much better with Ryan O'Hearn and Lariano. Like, we now have a well-rounded lineup on top of a great pitching staff. Michael King is expected to start making his rehab starts. So you have him plus Pivetta plus Dylan Cease. Darvish is back. You have the frontline pitching, the depth of the lineup, and now a great bullpen. You have it all.
I really like it. Like I do. Like sometimes I get caught up in the Padres because of what they can be.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
We don't care where you were drafted. You outperform somebody, you're going to be on that football field. Now, again, there are extenuating circumstances where you draft a quarterback number 3 overall. Yeah, they're going to try him out for the next 3 to 4 years, even if he's not as good as anybody on that roster. But from Shadur's perspective, that's probably the case. Tyler Huntley, Shadur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Deshaun Watson. There's a lot of names on that list, not a lot of good names on that list, so he can earn a job on this football team.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live, Game Day here on the grid. Scott and Gabe, hour number 2 here. Taking a look at a little baseball, little NFL, little CFL. We got some WNBA action, so it hit. Boy, I tell you what, you had to sweat it out a little bit, but Pittsburgh beat Cincinnati 7-0, so the under 7.5 does come through, despite the Pirates scoring 3 in the first. And this now marks, I got the numbers here, another shutout for the Pittsburgh Pirates. That's the craziest thing. Pittsburgh Pirate games. Yeah. And now it's, where is it? 28 of 116. 14-4, 14 against. It's not close to the record because back in the 20s and 30s, these shutouts happen all the time. But it's still like, 1 out of every 4 games is a shutout for the Pittsburgh Pirates, either for or against. It's the craziest thing. How about this, Gabe? I did see this. Skeens pitching today, right? He went 6 innings. Shutout baseball, obviously. His ERA heading into today, 1.99, was the best ERA in your first 46 starts since the live ball kicked in 1920. He is better than
you can't argue.
everybody else.
He's had the best start of any pitcher in Major League Baseball history.
Yeah. It's amazing.
The poor bastard's on the Pirates, huh?
He's on the Pirates, yeah. Right.
Like, wow.
I mean, crazy. But yeah, we're talking like the bar everybody. He's got the best 40, and now it's 47.
You know what's crazy, though, Scott? Tonight. You know who had similar numbers to start his career, actually? Jacob deGrom, right? Sort of those type of scary numbers, but Skeens has stayed healthier, right? And you know what's crazy? There's a pitcher on LSU, I guess the draft. The pitcher out of LSU this year, they just won the national championship. He was better at LSU than Skeens was.
Wow.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying he's going to be Skeens, but, you look at these LSU wide receivers. They got something going on there at LSU. I'll put it that way. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm just saying, like, this dude had better numbers. It was one of those, we're not saying Skeens, like, hey, Skeens is a legend. Won a national championship, but so did this kid. This kid just won that. You know what I mean? So did I. Like, one of those type of deals. And you look at his numbers, it's like, wow, he has the same numbers as Skeens. And against the same competition. And you know what's crazy, too, Scott? SEC football, I don't know if you have Netflix, but there's all these documentary series just now. Everyone's getting in on it, the behind-the-scenes stuff. So there's an SEC, and they follow each school. Like, so each episode sort of like, split into like LSU, South Carolina, and Florida, Georgia, or whatever. Like, so they follow a coach for like, it's like an hour show, half an hour. They follow the teams, etc. And they were showing, and they keep on boasting, Scott. Oh, there's nothing like the SEC. There's nothing like the SEC. It's like, good for you. The Big Ten's won the last 2 championships. Okay, so you can hype up the SEC all you want. And I'm not taking anything away, but the SEC is a top-heavy football conference. So is the Big Ten, but so is the SEC. Right? They talk about this and that. It's like you got about 4, whatever, really powers. But baseball, bro, you look at the NCAA College World Series, Scott, like 6 of the top 7 favorites were from the SEC.
SEC.
They had like 13 of the 16 teams in a regional, in one of the regionals. Like, and I think you would agree, you follow college basketball closely. It's not really a debate. Like, the SEC's become by far the best college basketball conference, right? The Big Ten is overhyped in college basketball. It hasn't won since Michigan State. The Big 12 is really good. But the SEC, look at that. Dude, you saw Florida. All those teams, man, they're all effing good, Scott. I'm just saying, like, the SEC is almost better at baseball and basketball than they are at football now. Like, they're more dominant in that than they become a football. It's pretty crazy. That's where I was going with this.
Yeah, absolutely, they are. I've always said the same thing about the SEC. Once you got through Alabama and Georgia, maybe LSU or Tennessee, then it really just like
Pavia, the quarterback of Vandy, was boasting. Oh, the SEC, you guys don't know what it's like. It's like, bro, don't ride. You're not Alabama. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
you're lucky
you're not
still
Texas.
In the SEC.
Like you're not like, hey, you're effing to Purdue. You're like Purdue in the Big Ten. Okay, so shut up. Exactly.
Yeah. But baseball-wise and basketball-wise, it was nuts. I mean, you're right. People don't pay close attention to the baseball, but as dominant as they were
and look at the Gators
in basketball, they were
LSU
in
wins baseball. They cruise. LSU wins baseball. The Florida Gators mess people up. They were by far the best team, Scott. We saw it, right? Like, you can't really dispute it.
It's amazing. They put so much money into their sports programs. And you can go 24/7 in the South. I guess that's it. We'll do our college football over-under when we come back here in the Grid.
They're in a decent spot. They actually had a really great quarter this past quarter, and they're crediting what they're calling a smarter approach to sports betting and player quality, not just being lucky and being on the winning side of more bets. Of course, the past 2 quarters have been really bad for sports books, which just got hammered in the NFL playoffs, and then that continued into March Madness. But it looks like Q2 is shaping up to be much better for them.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Want to hear a crazy stat, guys, with this Pittsburgh Pirates team yesterday? Out of 106 games, they have been involved in 27 shutouts, 13 for, 14 against. Over 1 out of every 4 Pittsburgh Pirate games ends in a shutout. How crazy is that?
Total is 8 tonight.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Was already pretty solid up top, but you had the bottom that's that much better with Ryan O'Hearn and Lariano. Like, we now have a well-rounded lineup on top of a great pitching staff. Michael King is expected to start making his rehab starts. So you have him plus Pavetta plus Dylan Cease. You Darvish is back. You have the frontline pitching, the depth in the lineup, and now a great bullpen. You have it all.
I really like it. Like I do. Like sometimes I get caught up in the Padres of what they can be.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
We don't care where you were drafted. You outperform somebody, you're going to be on that football field. Now, again, there are extenuating circumstances where you draft a quarterback number 3 overall. Yeah, they're going to try him out for the next 3 to 4 years, even if he's not as good as anybody on that roster. But from Shadur's perspective, that's probably the case. Tyler Huntley, Shadur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Deshaun Watson. There's a lot of names on that list, not a lot of good names on that list, so he can earn a job on this football team.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live, Game Day here on the Grid. Scott and Gabe, hour number 2. Limited now, all the baseball is done. Football, the first 2 games are in the third quarter now, and we'll keep an eye on that. And then we got a WNBA game going on, and we'll got 2 more starting in about a half hour. We'll go over those again with our picks. But every day this week, we've taken one team in college football, and we'll do this a lot more, obviously, as we get closer to the season. I just had some fun with some of the over-under team totals. Love these plays. So was looking last night, Gabe, and I'm going to grab Purdue, right? Their over-under is 3.5. Little juicy to the over, or really to the under, which is where I'm going to go. The under is minus 250, 245 or so. But the bottom line is that this team was 1-11 last year. Their one win was against Indiana State to start the season. Then they lost 11 in a row, and most they weren't even competitive. Their schedule this year, they do open up with Ball State and my Southern Illinois Salukis. And let's just say they win both of those games, right? They start the season with 2 wins. So we still need 2 more to get to 4. They're not winning any road game. They're not being, first of all, they only got 8 returning starters from a team that only had 1 win. They fired the head coach. I mean, they are starting from absolute scratch. There is nothing there. So, and they were awful last year. You're not winning at Notre Dame. You're not winning at Michigan. You're not winning at Washington. I don't even think you're winning at Minnesota or Northwestern. I really don't. Your home games are USC, Illinois, which should be really good, Rutgers, Ohio State, and Indiana. I don't know where you're getting those other 2 wins from. You could have a fluky win. Could you beat Rutgers at home? Maybe, but I don't, I don't want to lay minus the 250. If I do, I'll put it in a parlay with the under. But I don't see 4 wins. And God forbid they should lose one of those 2 games to Ball State or Southern Illinois. Then there's no way they're getting 4 wins.
Purdue became legitimately one of the worst teams in the country over the past couple of years. It was bad, really bad. So as Scott stated, they're starting over, but they have a much more qualified coach now. Barry Odom comes over, who was at Missouri before. He was good at Missouri. He obviously did an awesome job at UNLV, and he leaves UNLV to go to Purdue to take the job. One thing I'll say, Scott, so yeah, they lost a lot of players, but it's not a bad thing. They were terrible, the players that they lost, right? Yeah. So it's like, they were bad. They were 1-11 football team. So they lost a bunch of players. The problem is they lost 10 players transferred. Like a lot of their good players left. So like the other kids are bad, whatever, but a lot of the good players left to like better schools and stuff in the Big Ten, and the Ducks took a couple. Like people basically raided a couple of good players from Purdue. Yet, sort of like Signati when he came over from James Madison, Indiana, Scott, if you look at the roster of Purdue, there's a lot of UNLV players. Like he brought over a lot of kids from UNLV last year who were pretty good, right? But they're going to be undersized in the Big Ten right now. So he clearly said, all right, I'll bring some kids over that I know, and it'll take me a couple of years to build this. I do think he's a great coach, Scott. I think he's a really good coach. I think he will get Purdue into that sort of 6-6, 7-5 type of status in a couple of years. You know what I mean? I think he's good enough to get him into bowl games, and he'll bolt and he'll leave for a better job after. But I'm with you. Like, where's that 4th game coming from? Like you said, like, God forbid, if they lose one of the first 2, you win the bet automatically. They're not getting there. Right? But they should beat Ball State. You know, the Salukis can give them all they can handle, maybe, Scott. You know the Salukis. You're an alum. They can play. They're not beating USC. They're not beating Notre Dame. They're not beating Illinois. They're not beating Minnesota. Purdue at Northwestern, is that sort of the rabbit in the hat maybe win? Rutgers at Purdue. Let's say they get one of those, Scott. That gets them to 3. They're not beating Michigan in Michigan November the 1st. They're not beating Ohio State November the 8th. They go to Seattle November the 15th against the Huskies, one of the toughest places to play in the country. Good luck with that, Purdue. They're going to get smoked. And they wrap up with Indiana. I like the play. I don't think they get to 4 either. And 1 to 3 is kind of an improvement for Odom, isn't it? Like, hey, we sucked. I got us to 3. Next year, I'll get us to 5. And then in 3 years, I'll get us to 7. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, outside of Penn State and I guess Oregon, but they got screwed. I mean, they're playing all the big boys. They're playing USC. They're playing
If there's
Michigan,
a team that should leave and want to leave a conference, Scott, it's Purdue. You're not in a good conference, guys. You can't beat these teams.
Wow. I mean, holy fudge. You talk about just
You're
like
right.
just
The only one they
worst.
don't get is Penn State. They get everybody. Oh, they dodge the Ducks, too. They dodge the Ducks. So it
Oregon
goes to
and
show
Penn
how
State.
deep but it goes to show how deep the Big Ten is, isn't it? Like, that's a killer. You go to Ann Arbor. You host Ohio State. You go to Seattle to play the Huskies. You host Illinois, who are good. You go to South Bend. You host the USC Trojans. Scott, September the 13th when the weather's still nice. Have fun with that game, guys. Like, okay. Like you said, dude, Ball State and Southern Illinois, those are their only 2 sort of winnable games. And those are toss-ups.
Those are, Southern, I know they lost.
Ball
big
State's
last
a state
year to
rivalry,
BYU.
too. You don't think Ball State
But-
have that circle? They want to beat them. They're from Indianapolis.
Exactly. So even the gimme games aren't really gimme games. So yeah, I mean, you said if they don't get 2-0, forget about it. Then you have no shot at that 4 wins. No shot at all. So I guess this is the year that you have the tough schedule. Maybe next year you don't get Michigan. You don't get. I mean, I looked at the Big Ten schedule. There's a lot of guys that don't have Michigan or Ohio State, and they got both, in addition to Washington and USC.
One of the reasons why I like Iowa, if you look at Iowa's schedule, they dodge some of these teams. It really is what it comes down to, right? Like Indiana last year were a little bit. They didn't really play. They got smoked by Ohio State. Not smoked, but they lost to Ohio State. They beat Michigan. They didn't have that tough schedule. Last year, Scott, Michigan's schedule was brutal. It was the same thing. They opened up the season, Michigan, with like Texas last year. And then it was like, oh, we got to play the Oregon Ducks. And the USC Troll was like one after another, bro. It was relentless. And it's tough. But these greedy ADs, man, they cannibalize their own. Look at Oklahoma, Scott. Oklahoma used to be a kingpin, right? You're going to the playoffs. You're going to this. Oh, for a couple extra bucks, you go to the SEC. And now, like, you're 180-1 to win the championship or something like that. Like, like you're an afterthought now. Like the only thing like USC and UCLA, you had a good thing going on the West Coast. You owned it. What, you screwed it up?
Yeah, I don't listen. They'll say money. I get that, but you tell me those networks wouldn't have paid you just as much. When you consider you're the Big Ten, the Big 12, or the Pac-12 versus joining, an 18-team conference, whatever they get said and done. That's what the SEC is going to be, and you're dividing it up. That's why I said yesterday. I still think, Gabe, there's got to come a point in time where the SEC and all these other schools are going to be like, listen, we don't need Vandy. We don't need Mississippi State. We don't need South Carolina. You want to go get Clemson? Okay. We'll take Ole Miss with Lane Kiffin, but we don't, I just wonder when it gets to the point where these teams get that much greedy.
Well,
that
we're
they
getting
start
close
kicking
to
clubs
there.
out.
The Big Ten and the SEC are like, they're basically in bed together as it is now, Scott, right?
Yeah.
Like they want the expanded playoff, and they want to guarantee that they'll have 8 of the 16 teams.
I know.
They were like, we get half the field, and then the rest of you can figure it out. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. We want our 4th place team in there because we're so good.
Yeah.
You go ahead and deal with Boise State and Topeka High once. But yeah, it's college football is crazy. It's nowhere close to being finalized. 3 years from now, it's going to be completely different. I think you get 16 teams. You're going to have all these automatic bids. It's we're an evolution with college football, and it's just nowhere close to what it's going to end up being like. But I like college
there'll
football.
Be 24 teams eventually. So whatever.
Yeah,
exactly.
maybe.
Like, it'll just continue to grow.
Listen, they want to add more college basketball teams. It never gets over 60, and they want to add even more there. So why would they stop you right at 12 for college football? 24. All right, In-Game Live continues here on the Grid.
They're in a decent spot. They actually had a really great quarter this past quarter, and they're crediting what they're calling a smarter approach to sports betting and player quality, not just being lucky and being on the winning side of more bets. Of course, the past 2 quarters have been really bad for sports books, which just got hammered in the NFL playoffs, and then that continued into March Madness. But it looks like Q2 is shaping up to be much better for them.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
You want to hear a crazy stat, guys, with this Pittsburgh Pirate team? I brought this up yesterday. Out of 106 games, they have been involved in 27 shutouts, 13-4, 14 against. Over 1 out of every 4 Pittsburgh Pirate games ends in a shutout. How crazy is that?
Total was 8 tonight.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
It was already pretty solid up top, but you had the bottom that's that much better with Ryan O'Hearn and Lariano. Like, we now have a well-rounded lineup on top of a great pitching staff. Michael King is expected to start making his rehab starts. So you have him plus Pavetta plus Dylan Cease. You Darvish is back. You have the frontline pitching, the depth in the lineup, and now a great bullpen. You have it all.
I really like it. Like I do. Like sometimes I get caught up in the Padres because of what they can be.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
We don't care where you were drafted. You outperform somebody, you're going to be on that football field. Now, again, there are extenuating circumstances where you draft a quarterback number 3 overall. Yeah, they're going to try him out for the next 3 to 4 years, even if he's not as good as anybody on that roster. But from Shadur's perspective, that's probably the case. Tyler Huntley, Shadur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Deshaun Watson. There's a lot of names on that list, not a lot of good names on that list, so he can earn a job on this football team.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Scott and Gabe, hour number 2. We got a little bit of everything tonight. We got coming up 15
Raiders.
minutes, our third game. Raiders, Pete Carroll and company back to Seattle with the Las Vegas Raiders, which is still weird to say. It just is. I'm still in the Oakland Raiders mode, to tell you the truth, Gabe.
Dude, I'm watching it, Scott.
Dating myself.
They're not
here.
honoring them. The Seattle Seahawks. Like, guys, what are you morons? He won an he won a Super Bowl for you. Your only Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like, you should have a video montage and stuff for him. Like, I don't care if it's a preseason game or not. Like, you should have. They're not doing anything for him. And he came out early, and the crowd's going crazy, Scott. Like, the stadium lit up for him. He's all fired up, and he's throwing mini footballs, and I thought he was still a Seattle coach. Scott, he's dressed in white, and he's high-fiving. The mascot came over, the Seahawk hugged him and stuff, and, like, looked like he was back home again. I'm like, oh, yeah, he's the Raider coach now. It feels weird. Like, I think the Raiders are wearing white tonight, you know?
You know, what really happened there, Gabe? I mean, it's not like Seattle bottomed out and was just god-awful. You know, they got rid of Russell Wilson, a little dip, but it's not, like I said, he didn't have, back-to-back 4 wins. It's just
they ambushed him. Yeah, like they thought that they were tired of flatlining. The 9 and 8s and the 8 and 9s, but they made the playoffs like the year before, right? They had one bad year. There was a lot of talk of the vets and stuff that Pete Carroll's a rah-rah guy, and we tuned him out years ago, and his act gets stale. The thing is, they weren't terrible, and he was dealing with quarterback situations and the offensive line, etc. But it was the way it was handled, Scott, because don't be fooled. It's one of those deals where Seahawk Nation, they wanted him to go, and then they all cried about how it was handled after. I saw the same thing here in Vancouver with Bruce Boudreau. You got to fire him. It's terrible. Boudreau's terrible. You got to fire him. The Canuck guy fired him like a week before Christmas. Oh, what a scumbag move. Firing him a week before Christmas. What a scumbag. You guys wanted him to get fired. There's no good time to get fired, Scott. You know what I mean? You wanted him to get fired, you got fired. Like, you want to wait till December 26th? Like, they fired him right before that window where, like, the holiday, you know what I mean? Like, where you can't, like, make moves. So, I'm just saying, so they were upset, but Pete Carroll didn't see it coming. It was like the day after the season, Scott. Like, he drove 2 days after. He drove in for, like, what he thought was, like, the meeting for next year. All right, guys, we're going in the right direction, and they dropped the bombshell on him. You know, we don't want you back, Pete. Right? And it kind of like, there was you would have figured after 14 years, like you said, or 14 years, right? Like, they would have pulled him aside and said, listen, thank you for your service. And like, but that never happened. Like, he literally went into what he thought was a meeting about the draft and the direction of the team, and they pulled the plug then. So it devastated him. And then it didn't take long where he said, I'm going to coach again. And when he was at the podium, he was defiant. He goes, you'll see me again. And people were like, yeah, he's 74. Okay, Pete. Well, he's back. He's back. Yeah,
you want to take advantage of that. Like, I don't want to lay the 5.5, 6, right?
But it's hard not to pull for him and want him to win the game tonight.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So I thought about first half, but they're really not giving you that much of a break. Even that's 4.5 on FanDuel. How about first score of the game? If you think Las Vegas is going to be all pumped up and all geared up, you could bet the Raiders to score first touchdown at plus 175 or field goal plus 270. I wish they just gave you which team, but they don't.
Yeah. I can see. That's just plus money, so I'm not going to cry about it. You're rolling the dice. It's a flip of the dice, and you're getting plus money. But Scott, the total. I think you might be on the right side because I keep coming back to the same score. I keep thinking the Raiders are going to win this game 2017. Seattle covers, the Raiders win.
Right. That would be just like the boys in Vegas, right? Just like sports.
Yeah.
Whole world's
People
on Raiders.
Pinched.
Yeah. And then there's the boys in Vegas saying, thank you very much.
But you could have got the Raiders on a good money line earlier at 2.5. Remember earlier in the week, right? He who hesitates is lost, especially in the gambling world.
Yeah. You really do have to capitalize on some of these over-unders that we go over too. I was telling the guys on the podcast, those numbers do change. They don't just sit there. You're not the only one that's looking at those lines. They're real bettors that look at those lines, and one win makes all the difference in the world. Or odds change even if it stays at the same number. it'll go from -1, whatever, pick a number, to 130, and now all of a sudden you look at a couple days later and it's -175, -180, and you're like, oh, I don't want to lay that, and then you don't make the bet, and that bet ends up winning because you didn't put it in on
And
time.
you can't buy the half point back, as I talked about. Like you saw, because in the regular season, Scott, happens to me a lot. I'm like, son of a bitch, I missed that 37.5. I'm like, all right, whatever, dude. I'll pay the 10 cents. So I'll lay 122 instead of 110. Fine. Right? And I'll get it to what I want. They know this in the preseason. Like, you missed. Like, I'm not paying -152 to buy half a point from you. Right? Like, no. Like, you're right. The numbers do move. Look, we talked about it earlier in the week. The Hall of Fame game, guys, had 6.9 million viewers, and people weren't tuning in to pay homage to the greats, all right, in honor of the greats. Being real here. They got 7 million people. So you got about 7 million people that are betting on this stuff, Scott. Numbers are going to move, right? I think the numbers kind of said itself right there. You got about 7 million degenerates like you and me that are betting on this stuff.
They get more viewers literally for a preseason football game than they do for NHL finals. And close
more
to
than the World Series, the NBA finals, or the Stanley Cup finals.
It's amazing.
That's like 4 games of the Stanley Cup finals, a preseason game.
Yeah.
A preseason game.
I still don't get why the NHL doesn't get better ratings. I really don't. It's getting more and more popular, and yet the ratings are just like, on a big scale, are they improving
you're right.
a little bit? Yeah. But
the betting's gone up, but you're right. The ratings just don't move. And I swear to God, like Wayne Gretzky can be reincarnated. They don't move, Scott. Like it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's always going to be like sort of like heavy metal. Might not be number 1, but it's always going to be there. You know what I mean? Like, it's just
amazing.
It is what it is. They fill arenas though, Scott, right?
Yeah.
Hockey is better live, right? They sell out arenas, but hockey is better live than it is on TV. So I think people don't feel it in the way they should.
Yeah. Kind of crazy. All right, we'll wrap up shop next. In-game live game day here on the Grid.
They're in a decent spot. They actually had a really great quarter this past quarter, and they're crediting what they're calling a smarter approach to sports betting and player quality, not just being lucky and being on the winning side of more bets. Of course, the past 2 quarters have been really bad for sportsbooks, which just got hammered in the NFL playoffs, and then that continued into March Madness. But it looks like Q2 is shaping up to be much better for them.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Want to hear a crazy stat, guys, with this Pittsburgh Pirates team? I brought this up yesterday. Out of 106 games, they have been involved in 27 shutouts, 13-4, 14 against. Over 1 out of every 4 Pittsburgh Pirate games ends in a shutout. How crazy is that?
Total is 8 tonight.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Was already pretty solid up top, but you had the bottom that's that much better with Ryan O'Hearn and Lariano. Like, we now have a well-rounded lineup on top of a great pitching staff. Michael King is expected to start making his rehab starts. So you have him plus Pivetta plus Dylan Cease. Darvish is back. You have the frontline pitching, the depth of the lineup, and now a great bullpen. You have it all.
I really like it. Like I do. Like sometimes I get caught up in the Padres because of what they can be.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
We don't care where you were drafted. You outperform somebody, you're going to be on that football field. Now, again, there are extenuating circumstances where you draft a quarterback number 3 overall. Yeah, they're going to try him out for the next 3 to 4 years, even if he's not as good as anybody on that roster. But from Shadur's perspective, that's probably the case. Tyler Huntley, Shadur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Deshaun Watson. There's a lot of names on that list, not a lot of good names on that list, so he can earn a job on this football team.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Scott and Gabe wrapping up shop. Boy, fast 2 hours here. Another example, one of 1,150 gazillion million of starting pitchers, with the Atlanta Braves and Miami Marlins. One game that is still going on. I love the Marlins tonight. 2 reasons. Perez on the hill for Miami's done actually very well over the last month and a half or so. And you got Carlos Carrasco, who's been just awful. He should not be in a major league uniform, right? So I'm going to bet against the Braves because he stinks. Well, I'll tell you, he went 5 2/3 innings, gave up 6 runs on 9 hits, right? All right. Everything I thought, Gabe, happened. Beautiful. You know what? Great, right? Braves lead 7-6 despite Carlos Carrasco stinking out the joint. It just throw these starting pitchers out the window. It's amazing.
Baseball's a bitch.
Amazing. Yeah,
it's like George Burns said. Like George Burns said, show business is a hideous bitch goddess. Baseball betting, you could replace that with instead of show business. It applies for
Crazy.
both. But yeah, baseball betting, there's a lot of randomness to this stuff. Let's just call it out for what it is. But we got the WNBA coming up too, and can't forget, Scott.
Yep.
I was like, I didn't get those double plays in yet. How about this? Aaliyah Boston double-double, Alyssa Thomas double-double. Parlay is plus 155. You rather play them separate, or I think they're both going to get there.
I think they're both going to get there too, but I'll play them separate. Knowing I don't have to lay too much juice. So I'm getting, I have it at plus 120 here in at least it was earlier tonight. I'll double check here. So my parlay I think would be higher than that. If I got a minus 150 and a plus 120, that should be closer to 2-1.
Boston's minus 150 double right now. No, excuse me, plus 120. You're right, plus 120. Right. My bad.
Right.
Did I just bet on no? Did I just? 150. Listen, you know what? I just bet Boston no. Good thing I double checked, Scott, by accident. I'm like, what the hell? Minus 150. You're saying 1 plus 120. I cashed out. I'm able to erase it. That's why pencils have erasers. So yeah, I can get back in on this. Yes. Aaliyah Boston. That was Wetzel's look there. And let's not forget, guys, that Alyssa Thomas has had a triple-double. First player in WNBA history to have back-to-back triple-doubles. It's, the odds are against it that she's going to do it again, but it is plus 500. I'm getting a piece of it.
Well, they're screwing you here in New York. It's only plus 350.
Wow.
They moved Boston to plus 125 for the double-double. Thomas is now minus 165.
Interesting different numbers, huh? Wow. Plus 350. Wow. So I'm getting a good number at the plus 500.
Yeah.
For the football game here, we debated the total and stuff. I know, so it's back up to 37 now for the record. But I think, Scott, if we're looking at the best bet in this game, in my opinion, Seattle Seahawks plus 6 first half. We've seen both underdogs. Hell, we're winning on the money line in the first half, let alone the points. Where you're getting 6 points. It's 5 right now, 5.5, depending on your book as far as the game is concerned. I'm taking the Seahawks plus the points, but I'm also I took the Seahawks in the first half as well, Scott. Plus 6 points in the first half. Let's hold on and hope for the best. And the total now up to 37. That's more reasonable because I think that could actually be a push. I keep coming back to 2017.
Yeah. That's a 20. Yeah, exactly. And then just hope it goes over the number. I'll take the Raiders. The first points scored. I think they come out flying. I think they score first. Grab them with a touchdown at plus 175 on FanDuel. I do like the over. I'll stick to my guns. We got 40 points in the Ravens-Colts game, 24-16. So Baltimore scored again. And you got 44
and an
so
over,
far.
Scott. And an over, Scott. You've been following the overs and the Sparks. Bro, here, I don't know we have time for my trends here, guys. Scott, the Sparks, 9-1 to the over. 9-1 to the over in their last 10. The Sparks have scored 100 or more points in 4 of their last 5 games, Scott. Yeah. Dude, they're like an NBA team. It's insane. They're dropping 100, 101, 108. They're on fire. So give me the game to go over tonight. Sparks Fever over the number. Give me Hamby over 24.5 points and rebounds combined. She's gone over this in 5 of the last 7 basketball games. And let's go over to 175.
Yeah, this has got a big, Sparks win written all over because, Gabe, they're one behind Golden State for the number 8 spot. So they can't fool around. They got to get into the postseason.
Sure,
They're
I
playing
think
great
they murder
basketball.
them. I would lay the 10. I have
Yeah.
them in the money line parlay, but I would lay the 10. I agree with you.
Yeah, and I would go over the 92.5 Sparks points and not even worry about Connecticut having to score with the over. I like them. But yeah, they can't fool around. So this has got like a 20-point win, I would think, written all over it. Yeah, great job as always, Gabe, and I'll be back tomorrow night. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday, folks. Let's make some money.